This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So till yesterday it was all Jira completed, right? One last model is left over there for us, that is RAD model, which we are about to start, right? RAD, which we are calling it as Rapid Application Development, right? So this Rapid Application Development name itself is telling you the application is to be developed and delivered in short time, right? Developed and delivered in short time. RAD is approached, right? That is being followed over there. Now, when we are following this particular model, right, the team should be concentrating mainly on communication skills, right? In this model, the communication is mandatory between the client, developer, and the test engineer. Why it is mandatory about the communication? That means, is this model is not using any documentations or not? So again, in this model, we are not working or we are not wasting our time in preparation of documentation over here, right? So the application need to be developed and tested without any help of documentation. So that is the reason communication should be mandatory. That is what they say. And testing the application without help of documentation, this approach is called as an ad hoc approach, right? RAD is using an ad hoc approach or ad hoc testing. That is testing the application without any documentation. So that approach, testing that kind of an approach is called as an ad hoc approach, they call it as over here, right? Now without documentation, it is mandatory communication we require, right? Moreover, the thing is the team to be skilled and expertise, they will say it as over there. But here, when the process is happening because of less time approaching over here, right, the team should focus on severity based requirements and defects over here. So that is the team need to focus on to. Now, what is mean by severity based requirements? Do you people remember when we were talking about a spiral model, right? The spiral model, we said the team should focus on priority based requirements. Priority based requirements rather than defects. So what did we define this particular line? What did we had a discussion about this particular line over there? In that case, what is called as priority requirements then? So this we said we are not working on defects, because whatever the defects raised will be rectified within the phase itself. Yes, which requirements, in a sense, the importance of the requirement you're going to talk about, right? It is not just which requirement, it is to be mentioned as the requirements which have been given a high priority and high importance over there, right? So rather than defects, this is what we said, right? Because every phase will be resolving the defects within the phase itself. That is the reason we mentioned it, advantage over there, reduces problems at all levels, because every phase there was a testing being conducted. So that is what it says, rather than defects. And the priority based requirements are the importance of it. Then in that case, what is severity based requirements over here in the RAD? This is important. Yes, I can understand. Then what is this now? Is our class going seriously? Yes or not? Is our class
Yes.
going serious? Yes or not?
Yes, sir.
Sir. Start thinking, why did I ask you that question? Our class is going serious.
Yes, sir.
No, it is not going.
Yes, sir, it is. It is going.
It is going serious.
Yes, sir.
Then why did I ask you that question? Think about it. Yes, sir. I did not hear that.
Yes. Sir, severity synonym is serious, right?
You're right. So from that time, I am highlighting this. I told you earlier, when I ask you a question, I evenly give you a hint also. You need to catch it all. Right? Seriousness of the requirements is related to the defect, related to the severity over here. So let us open a web page over here, and as an example, the very regular web page we keep on opening is a Facebook web page. Now tell me which is inside this page, right? On this page, not inside, on this page, which will be your serious requirement, severity, and which will be your priority requirement. Think about it. The seriousness, the severity is always related to the functionality. So in this page, I will consider my functionality is on
Entering username and password.
so my
And login.
functionality will be on a login, right? Create account, forget password. So these are my severity requirements over here related to the functionality. My priority requirement is to create a logo, design the logo, right? Title placing in the position, right? So that I'll be considering it as over here, right? That is what they are talking about. The RAD will concentrate on the severity based requirements, that is functional requirements, right? And as well as the defects. That means it is obviously called as a functional defects over there. For your convenience, let me put it like this for you. It's all about functional requirements and defects. So when I say and defects, that means it is related to the functional defects itself over there, right? So that is what it is specifying. So I don't tell my team to work onto all these links. These are not mandatory right now. We are supposed to develop and deliver the application to the client, login, creating, sign in, sign up, right? If any password he forgot or trying to change it, this is the major part of it, right? So we will develop this first and release this product to the client. So we are leaving behind all the logo, the titles, all these links, which are, I don't think so. I can even bet, I think we all, right, the current team which we are into this session, we never clicked any link from this. Am I right? Nobody did not click anything over here.
Yes, sir.
So why do I make my team to develop these links, right? I don't want to waste my time. In that case, these are pending issues, right? So in case of any pending issues need to be taken care of, when then? Pending requirements or issues, because yesterday's language, issues need to be taken care, yes or not? We are in a short time, and the short time it is where we are supposed to deliver it today. Today will be the last day, right? So I am supposed to deliver it. We are going to deliver it. So if anything is left over, right, we will only call it is completed when all the requirements are being developed, tested, and delivered. So that is what we will talk about. But what I'm doing is I'm developing it, testing it, and delivering only this part of my Facebook. I'm leaving behind all these. So the client is paying for us to develop entire thing, right? So if we leave this behind, it does not make any sense then, right? So you have to do this. Then when do we do this? The leftover requirements. Apart from the organization side, where is the rest of the development and the testing team available?
In a client location.
Here's your answer. Right. So the leftover requirements need to be accomplished during the product maintenance. We cannot leave it incomplete and make that saying that we delivered your product. No. Right. So that is how it is. Those need to be taken care during that time, maintenance. That is why we kept a team of end users, developers, and test engineers to do such kind of things, maintenance, right? So whatever you left it, I'll be doing it over there, right? So that is what it is. We are talking about the maintenance over there, right? So here, when you're doing this, what will be your advantage over here? And what will be your drawback? I'll say advantage is, what is the common drawback in all the models till yesterday, which we were talking about? The common drawback of waterfall model, prototype, fish, spiral, agile, and so on.
Taken, sir.
So that will be as an advantage for me in this RAD.
Yes, sir.
It is going to be fast, making it fast here. But the drawback, I'll say it as, can I say no quality delivery? Yes, we are not delivering a complete product. We are delivering an incomplete product. So how can you call it as a quality then? Right? I'll say it is a no quality delivery over there. But we cannot still help out because that the client wanted it, right? He wanted it to finish it up in the earlier stages. Do it. It has to be done in that case over there. So example is, consider yourself, you're learning a subject, testing over here, and they said manual is going to go for 20 days of time, right? But I finished it in 10 days. What happens? Will you be satisfied?
No, sir, not.
Even though I complete all the topics also, I made you do the practicals also, you will never be satisfied, right? Because you will go start hashing the organization, saying that the management, you said 20 days, he finished it in 10 days, right? So that is the thing over here. There will be a no quality. I can even make it this entire subject in one day closing also. You come down in the morning 6 o'clock, by the time evening 6 o'clock, I will evenly finish the entire manual also. It is not finishing of mind, it is all the finishing in your head. The subject needs to be set into your head, right? But if you people insist you joining, no, I do not have 20 days, I have only 10 days time, then I have to work in that process, because as per the client, I need to work on to, right? I'll try and deliver it over there. So when I'm trying to deliver it in the short time, so I need to work on my severity based requirements. So in the subject, what will be your severity requirements over here? It's all about writing test cases, right? Executing the test cases, bug report preparation. This is your severity requirement. Whereas priority requirement was all talking about the introduction, the SDLC, all the sequential steps which we have come across till now, right? So that is how it is. I will only work on, I'll only give an introduction one day. The second day, I'll give an overview of the SDLC topic. And the third day, I'll make you write test cases, right? The fifth day, we will complete the practicals. The rest of the 5 days, Jira 2 days, bug life cycle another day, khatam, close. Manual is finished, right? So I can even finish it up over there. But I directly will say, right, I will complete the subject, but I myself will tell you, I did not give you a quality subject because everything was in a hurry, right? So that was the drawback over there, right? This is where we close our models. How many models did we complete now?
Models, sir.
Sorry, sir.
Seven models.
7.
Right. How many processes did we complete?
SD.
Hmm? Okay, I'll give you the number. Try to think about it. Agile is a model, sir. Agile, which process it is all following over there? And SDLC is phases. Got your answer?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Right? When before
Yeah.
starting off our models, I defined it in this manner. The
Yes.
waterfall prototype and the fish model is your step-by-step
Step by
process.
step.
V model is the simultaneous, and the agile RAD and the spiral comes under your
Synchronized.
synchronized, right? So that is why the questions are tricky over there. Do remember everything there. Sure. So this is where we enclose our models topic here. Let us get along with another topic called as methods of testing. methods of testing, that is a white box testing method, the black box testing method, and the gray box testing method, right? So apart from these three colors, do we have any other color of testing method? Yes, it is all about green method. So what was that green method testing then?
At the time testing in a client location, it is called green.
It is all about a checklist, sir. Ensuring the product is delivered properly or not. We written few lines of checklist over there, right? Is the product installed properly? Is the product working properly? Is the product being delivered with the help documents? Is the product, all such kind of things, a checklist which we went on through, right? That is considered as a green box testing, right? So these are the three other, apart from the green, these are the three methods which we are going to cover over here: white box testing, black box, and a gray box, right? So white, I'll make it very simple over here. Do not get into a complications, right? White box, also called as glass box, open box, or clear box testing. Whereas the black box is called as closed box testing, right? So for this particular part, for white box testing, I will use an aquarium example as an aquarium, a fish aquarium, right? So in that case, it is all a glass over there, aquarium. You are able to see through that aquarium there. In that case, what is it you are able to see inside the aquarium there?
Like in a project, we can see the code.
Right. It is all related to the internal structure of coding, right? This is where test engineer will ensure the working condition of the coding part over there. Making it clear for you, test engineer ensures how is the coding functioning, but he will not write a coding part over there. The coding part is always done by developers, right? The white box testing is done by developers only. They will prepare a source code, right? But when we are involved in the white box testing, we'll ensure is the source code working properly or not, but not talking about writing over there. So in that similar manner, right, we cover the aquarium with a paper now. What is it you are able to see now? So earlier we said internal structure. Aquarium is all about the fish, the level of water, the marbles, the decoration saman, whatever you put it over there, you are able to see. But what is it you are able to see in this part? You covered the aquarium with a paper.
That time we can find only the product, like the entire box. We can't see the internal.
We cannot see the internal.
Yes.
Yes, then what is it you are able to see then?
Only framework, sir, like in the complete product.
Complete product?
No, I mean the product.
Example, it will be much better, sir.
Like GUI, sir.
Yes, right. That is, we are talking about the user interface, right? The color of a paper, the shape of a paper, right? All that comes under the user interface, over the user interacting with the application, external part of the application, right? So while doing this black box testing, test engineer does not need any programming knowledge over here. But whereas it comes down into this particular part, right? Test engineer is required a programming knowledge. Let me put all that in the advantage and drawback kind of thing. Right. What is an advantage? The drawback we discussed as a program knowledge is mandatory. Right. I will evenly specify partial programming knowledge, not even a complete knowledge also, because we just want to see the execution. If the execution goes wrong, the error is raised, I need to ensure which type of the error is. So for that purpose, I need to have a programming knowledge mandatory. At least a partial, it is more than enough over there. Right. And for that particular process, test engineer need to be skilled, because he has to have that knowledge. Then he'll be a skilled test engineer over there. Fine, skilled test engineer is not a point over there, but in order to do the execution of the source codes, you require a specialized debugging tool over there. That is going to be another drawback over there. Now, what are those debugging tools over there you require? Example is C language. People have written a statement in the C language at least. So what was the tool you used? What was the software you used to write a C language then? Who's attending Selenium class from this team?
Myself, sir, I'm attending that.
You're writing Java there?
Yes, sir, Selenium Java.
Yes, sir.
In which you are writing Java then?
Eclipse.
Right. That means Java is not having an interface. It is taking a third-party tool, which is a debugging tool over there, where you will be writing your programs, executing it, and it will show you the result in the console of an Eclipse. Similarly, we have written a C language in a Turbo C. If you people remember that, the blue screen picture there. Whereas Java, currently we are using an Eclipse. Earlier we used to use an Edit Plus, NetBeans, right? There are plenty over there. So what are these? These are called as a debugging tools over there. If you see here, right, we installed Java over here. There is Java over here. You can see here, it shows about Java, check for updates, configure, get help, visit java.com. But it is not making me open the Java over here, right? Java is installed, Java does not have an interface. Now I want to interact with an Excel, MS Office over here. I want to do some accounts. I want to write some test cases. I'll take a help of an Excel. I want to do some designing. I will interact with my MS Office using a PowerPoint. I'll prepare some notes. I'll use my Word document over there. So this is having an interface, right? Whereas Java is not having it. So in order to work with the Java, you have to take a help of so-called applications over there, right? So that is what it requires. But you are doing all these things, right? The advantage, the main advantage is it will make you find the type of data, right? Defects which you are raising it over there. Easy to find the defects, which type of data it is all talking about over here, right? Defects which we raised over here. That will be a specific kind of a thing which we can work on to, right? White box testing over here. And the white box testing has different testing techniques over here where developers can perform them. Unit testing. Now, what is meant by this unit testing? Sorry, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing, sir.
Unit testing. So what is this unit testing over here? As I kept on telling you, is done by developers only. But I evenly asked you, is it been done by test engineers, yes or not? So did I ask you a question? Is this unit testing done by test engineers also? Yes, it is. Because whatever the modules development is being done, those module testings will need to be also done by the test engineers, right? So in this case, we'll put a general conversation, general English over here. In your 16 years of education, have you people performed any unit testing? Yes or no?
Sir.
Yes.
At school days, there is like
Your syllabus, your subject is being divided into parts, chapters, right? And whatever the chapter is being completed, they conducted a test called as unit test, right? So that is the same thing which we are talking about, but in a technical terms which we are using it over here, right? Once those units are being accomplished, then your half yearly, right? Combine, include, integrate, which we are talking about. Right? When the individual components are being developed and tested successfully, those need to be integrated, combine it, right? Where we have written an exam called as half yearly again, integration testing, right? So that is what it is, another testing technique over there under the white box testing. There are a few more testing techniques like statement coverage. So every programmatical statement which is being done by the developer need to be tested, executed over there, right? Which is called as a statement coverage. So you do at least with the basic executions of it there. So statements, every individual statements, right? So those statements combinedly, we call them as a branch coverage. A bunch of programs over there to be executed at least once. I just forgot the line which I'm supposed to type. Right? So combine those statements, do the execution, which is called as a branch, and do the execution. Finally, the build is being done. where you call it as a path coverage, where all statements and branches will be covered. All executed at once, which is called as your path coverage. So these are all your testing techniques under your white box testing, right? So to ensure the entire individual programs to be tested over there, right? So whereas when we come down to the black box testing over here, right, we test engineers are need to have a programming knowledge. That means that will be a drawback for us now. Sorry, I said no program. That means that is an advantage there, not a drawback. My mistake. But the drawback over here is writing a test case is difficult, right? Why it is difficult in writing a test case? If the build is large enough, if the build keeps on updating with its requirements, then your case needs to be evenly updated over there, right? A term which they used it in your Selenium, regressions. Selenium is possible to do a regressions, which is easy. So that kind of a regressions is not possible in our black box. That is where test case needs to be completely updated again and again and again, right? Which is a difficult task over there. The advantage is, yes, any kind of an size of an scale of an application can be done, right? So that is what we are talking about in the black box testing. But what about the black box testing techniques over here? Let me put them over here down. Which is called as a BVA, which is called as boundary value analysis. One is ECP, which is called as equivalent class partition. And the third one is a decision table, right? So these are the techniques which we are going to cover it in our black box testing, right? So here, let us talk about the boundary value analysis and the equivalent class partition initially over there. Later, we'll talk about the decision table, right? I'll remove it from here. So when we said boundary value analysis, right? Boundaries, in a sense, it is related to the size over there, right? So size is to find the type of, sorry, to find the size of input data, whereas ECP is to find type of input data, right? What is the size and what is the type of input data, right? When we are talking about data input, that means for which type of objects can be used these BVA and ECP. So what are your object types? The word I'm using it object over here, that is related to your Selenium in your Java programs. They call it as elements. In that case, how many types of elements do you find? Hmm? Type of objects are not yet came to that topic. Okay, fine. There's no problem. We are going to talk about an edit box or text box, right? So I have an idea about these. So I enter my username and my password over here. These are my edit boxes, right? So onto these boxes, what is the operation I'll be performing? I'll be performing a keyboard operation. That means the input data are being given into these objects. In a sense, the boundary value analysis and the equivalent class partitions are being working for an object called as edit box or a keyboard, sorry, or text box, where a keyboard operations are being performed over there. Whereas the rest of the objects like push buttons, login, create button, sorry, create new account. These are your push buttons over here. The radio buttons like male, female, custom. These are your radio buttons, right?
Yes, sir.
The check boxes, I agree terms and conditions, right? Which we don't read them regularly. And the links, the combo box, or some people call it as list box, the drop downs, right? So onto all these objects, what is the operation you are going to perform? You're performing a mouse operations. Either you're clicking the object, otherwise you're selecting the object over there, right? So it is all done by a mouse operation. That means the boundary value analysis and the equivalent class partitions cannot be performed onto these objects over there, right? So that is only related to the edit boxes over there, right? That is what it is. So here we will take up an example, right? Before taking an example, the tables which you prepare for this boundaries and the equals over here is like this, right? Tables, a valid table, that is minimum plus 1, maximum minus 1, and the mid table. So the mid table is calculated in this manner, right? The minimum plus the maximum division of 2. That is how it has been calculated. Whereas the invalid tables over here, it is minimum minus 1, the maximum plus 1, and I can evenly add up a mid table inside our invalid also. So how is that? We will have a look over there. Right. So we'll take an example over here. Consider there is a user ID which accepts 5 to 10. That is your boundary value analysis, the sizes, right? It says letters, that is your type of data. So when you are entering a Gmail email ID, what will be the maximum size of the Gmail email ID? Anybody has an idea about that? The maximum length of a Gmail email ID. Well, sir, my personal email ID itself is 30. Here you can see it.
251 characters, I think.
This is my personal email ID. Counted, it comes up to 30.
251, sir.
64.
Okay.
64 is the maximum length an email ID can be considered as. Right? So that is it. In that manner, that is what we are talking about, the size. What is it going to accept over there for the emails? All the alphanumeric and the special characters. Conditions apply for the special characters is @ underscore and the dot. Right? So that is how we are talking about over here. So let us prepare a table over here. But before preparing a table, we will do the segregation, what user ID accepts and what does the user ID rejects over here, right? User ID accepts and rejects. So there is no much acceptation happening. It's only letters. So can I be entering the letters like this, A to Z? Is it any mandatory that it has to be uppercase or lowercase? Is it any mandatory that user ID has to be only uppercase or only lower cases? What happened?
Not mandatory.
Not at all required over there, right? You type your email IDs or the user IDs in any manner, you will still log in, right? So it is nowhere talking about an uppercase or lowercase, anything is the same. When they said letters, I will ensure it as A to Z, right? Any letters. But if the letters being typed along with anything is going to be an invalid, right? The other combinations, special characters, all the three over here, right? Or only special characters, only numerics, right? Any other combination, giving a space, and the blank, leaving it. So all considered as an invalid, to be rejected over there. Similarly, for your password, password accepts and rejects what? It is numerics over there, right? So then N, let me just do this, copy pasting it. Only here I need to do a small change. The rest of the part is same, right? Because as per the requirements which we are talking about. So based on this, we'll try to prepare a table like a minimum and so on. Say minimum table, right? So the object which we are working on to, the size and the type. The object is user ID, a password. User ID minimum is 5, whereas password is 4. The type is, I'll straight away enter some letters over there out of A to Z, anything. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What about my password? Can I mention the password as like this? Is it going to be a valid?
Yes.
Is this going to be a valid?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Or
Yes.
anywhere between 0 and 9? So everything is valid over there. They said the number should be starting from 4, but they did not said number starting from 4th over there, right? They said 4 digits they require. Either it can be all zeros, either it can be straightforward 1 2 3, or any random number between 0 and 9. all our infinity numbers do fall under 0 and 9 only. Am I right in that way or not?
Yes, sir.
That's it. Right? Even your mobiles also, you have an security option of pin. Rather than going with a pattern, you selected a pin and use it as all 4 zeros. It will still get locked and unlocked also. Right? They require only 4 numbers, whatever the numbers you enter. Right? That is how you prepare a table minimum. So maximum, go to the maximum limit over there. The object, size, and the type. The user ID, password, maximum is 10. Again, anywhere between A to Z, you can mention it. Whereas password is 8. Any number between 0 and 9, I can enter. But as we said, mid value, right? Mid table, we will prepare it here. The object, size, right, and the user ID, password. So user ID has 5 to 10, which we say minimum plus maximum division of 2, right? 5 plus 10 is 15. 15 division of 2 is 7.5. So how is this possible now? When I'm entering an inputs there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I cannot mention an h in a half, right? That does not make a sense there. Then how do we go with this if we are talking about a number in this manner? So for the password, it is straightforward. 8, 4, how much? 12. 12 division of 2 is 6.
6.
Not more talking about straight away. My 6 numbers are done. It is closed. But whereas for the user ID here, such kind of options, when you get, what do?
Either 7 or 8.
Right? If you people remember the billing, you go do some shopping. If the billing, right, especially you're doing a cash payment, if your bill is 7.59 and above, they make it as round off as 8. If your billing is 7.59 below, they make it round off as 7. Only during the cash payment. You're doing a card payment, no, make sure they never do that round off, because card can calculate exactly over there. Right? Did you people observe any time?
Yes, sir.
Ensure that it is. So this is all my valid tables, right? Whereas I come down to the invalid tables, right? Minimum -1 in a sense, the object, size, and the type. It's a user ID, a password, simple. I will reduce my number. So even I'm taking a valid input is an invalid, right? Because the size has been differentiated. Similarly for the password, right? My size will be valid, my type will be invalid. I'll try to make it into the mid value here, right? As we said, 7 or 8. All special characters, because all special characters is invalid for our user ID, rejects. Even though my size is valid, my type is invalid. Earlier, my size is invalid, my type is valid over there, right? So both these where user cannot log in over there. Alpha plus special characters, one of the combination under user, under password. So this is how we are preparing tables. right? A minimum table and a maximum table, BVA and ECP table. Based on this, let me give you a task. You will be able to try writing it for that. Will you be able to write it?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Task is where user ID accepts 3 to 10, right? They say only letters, numerics, and underscore are allowed. Whereas password, they say only letters, conditions apply. Letters, minimum 1 capital and 1 small, and numbers are allowed. Now, for this, I will evenly give you an error conditions also. User ID and password cannot start and end with special character. That is one condition. And user ID cannot start with numbers. That is another one. And the last one is user ID cannot have 2 consecutive underscores. That is immediately the 2 underscores there, like these, right? You give an underscore, enter a letter, then you give an underscore, which is going to be a, but immediately, no, that will be an defect error there, right? So that is how it is. This is how we get along with this. So try to write this task for me, right? So I'll be sending you this Word notepad document for you, right? Within that itself, you can write. And I want you to write mainly user ID, what is it going to accept, the combinations, and what is it going to reject, the combinations, like this, right? Define them first, that is for the user ID and as well as for the password. Then write one minimum table for me. That is more than enough, because one table you write, you'll get to know what is the rest of the tables will be, right? So this will be
Yes,
your task for the day. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
yes,
So we'll do the decision table and the gray box testing in tomorrow's session over there. And yes, tomorrow is Sunday. We have a session, but the session will be starting at 8 a.m., not 7:30.